How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back in another video. This video is a top 10. We're looking at the top 10 cards from Time Spiral Remastered that were reprinted for Commander purposes. So, I made a little chart, basically like a little ranking poll, and put it on Reddit, put it to the Discord members, and got some results back and tallied it up. And came to the conclusion of what were the top 10 cards for Commander reprints. This is for the main set only. I'm going to do a different video on the time-shifted cards. And I curated the list that was available to choose from based on the top 25-ish best Commander cards in my opinion. And so there's two honorable mentions I want to say that I didn't actually put on the list, but were great reprints. And do see minimal play in Commander, but they're solid cards and fantastic reprints, being Dryad Arbor and Gemstone Caverns. So Dryad Arbor, I've tried it in many decks. It doesn't perform very well. It just tends to die a lot. Even Green Sun Zenithing into it isn't the craziest thing in the world. I think it's an overplayed card in Commander, and it's not that heavily played to begin with. It's probably going to be more played after this set comes out because it's going to be cheaper, but people are going to realize, oh, this card should be cut. It's not that great in this format. And Gemstone Caverns. It's actually a very popular CDH card. I didn't realize this until recently, even though I have 3 CDH decks, and I've never actually gone against the Gemstone Caverns. But it's a pretty popular CDH card, and it's not that great outside of CDH. It's just kind of it's kind of like running a Chrome Mox or Mox Diamond outside of CDH. It's kind of just something that you don't really want to do. Super fast mana acceleration is not necessary in Battlecruiser Commander or even 8 and 9s. It's much more of a CDH card, and its downside is that if you draw it after your first hand, then it's just a colorless land. So any mana intensive decks do not want it. I think it's a good card in CDH, but outside of that, I wouldn't put it into any other decks. And yeah, that didn't make the list either. So, with those two out of the way, we're going to hop into this. The number 10 was Teferi, Mage of Zhalfir. So, its last reprint was Iconic Masters, which a little while ago at this point. The pre-reprint price was $6.50, which not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. And it's only according to EDH Rec inside 6,908 decks, with 3% of the decks that it can possibly be in. I think that's an underrated number. This card is very, very powerful. It's a fun card, being able to cast things at instant speed. If you're playing Vidalcan Orrery, then you should be playing this as well. It's a very similar effect. And also, the percentage is based on all decks it could possibly be in. So, since it's a mono blue card, this is any deck that has blue in it. That's what it's going to be the percentage for. It's a great card, though. It's a fun card. I enjoy it. And it's also good against your opponents. Next up, number 9, we have Return to Dust. This card is... it was last printed just not long ago in Commander Legends. This card didn't make the list because of price reasons. It made the list because it's a great Commander staple and just a very powerful card in Commander. It just gives people more access to this card. People can open it and shove it into decks. You don't have to go out and buy it. It's a good, really, really good card. Only 30 cents pre-reprint. So this is one of those cards that's a Commander staple that if they just keep reprinting, because if they don't keep reprinting, it'll go up in price pretty quickly, similar to Soul Ring does. But they keep reprinting this, they can keep it under $1 very easily. And it's reported in 26,735 EDH Rec decks, being in 12% of all decks that have white in it. It's an extremely popular card, so it's a good reprint. Number 8, we have Vesuva. This card is very powerful, and I think that its EDH Rec numbers are very low comparatively to other cards just because of the fact that it's hard to get and its price point. Because the last time that it was printed was the list, and that's a very minimal reprint. So other than that, It's from the Vault Realms. So for a lot of these, I didn't mention the specialty printings, but if the list was the most recent one, it's the only time I mentioned the specialty printing, because that's probably a bigger supply. Like, the list is a very, very small supply. And so Vesuva's list from the Vault Realms, Future Sight, or Time Spiral, whatever, that's very few printings. And it's a very powerful card. It combos with Dark Depths. It's just great in any lands deck. It's really good in just basically any deck that runs utility lands, or against the decks that run utility lands, because it just enters the battlefield as any land you need. Say you're against an opponent with a crazy deck with Gaia's Cradle and stuff. You just play Vesuva and it enters a copy of Gaia's Cradle. It's similar to Thespian Stage, but like almost strictly better. Like, just because you don't need to pay the mana to activate it, it just enters as it. It's a good card. And it is a good reprint at $36 pre-reprint price. And but as I said, only 6,297 decks use it, being 1% of decks that can. Because Vesuva is a colorless land, that means literally every single deck could run it. But not every single deck is going to want to run it. But since every single deck could run it, that percentage is going to be abysmal. Like, very, very low. Number 7, we got a Chronos Memorial. I'm surprised how far down down the list of Chronos Memorial slid. It's a very, very powerful card, especially in the go wide strategies. Just gives you creatures big buffs. Its last reprint was the list, and before the list it was Magic 2013. So it's been a hot minute for this card. Since the last major reprint, it's been years. The price pre-reprint was $34, and it's actually in less decks than Vesuva, which is shocking to me. It's gotta be a price thing? I don't know. Because only 6,216 decks, 1% because it's a colorless artifact, so it can fit in any deck, so that number is kind of But it's a great card for pretty much any big tokeny deck. It's just a very powerful card for really any deck. Like, any deck that has artifact synergies, makes artifacts cost cheaper. Like, it's just a good card. Even if you have one creature in play and you play a Chronos Memorial, that creature becomes crazy. So I think that that's an underplayed card as well. I'm surprised by that. I thought that it would be a lot higher, because I see it a decent amount. But yeah, a Chronos Memorial, number 7. Next up is number 6. We got Venser Shaper Sabbat. Venser is pretty cool. His last reprint was Modern Master 2017. And pre-reprint, he was $10.50. He's listed in 9,790 decks for 4% of all decks with blue in them. Not too bad. It's a really powerful card, though. Like, any Blink deck, if you have a Blink deck, this card is nuts in it. Like, being able to just bounce him and counter spells, bounce permanents, it's very powerful. Like, auto include in any Blink deck, and honestly, in a lot of decks. Like, Clone deck could be cool because you can just kind of Clone deck's not as cool. Really a Blink deck, or if you can like get it onto a what is that artifact called? Oh my god. The artifact that you tap it to create a token that's a copy of the imprinted creature, and you can imprint the creature when it dies. I'll have it on the screen so you guys can see it. But yeah, that one. That seems really cool with this. It's a good card. I'm happy about that reprint. Number 5, we have Sliver Legion. So, its most recent non-specialty printing was Future Sight. So this is its first major reprint. The most recent reprint was the Judge promo. Those are the only 2 reprints that exist of this card. I'm pretty sure that pre-reprint, this was the second most expensive basic card that's not reserve list. Because there's Imperial Seal, which is number 1. I believe this was number 2. Like, not including invocations, not including masterpieces, stuff like that. Like, just base printing, I believe that this was number 2 at $135 pre-reprint. And that was post-Judge promo, so the price did go down from the Judge promo price. And it's only in 1,902 decks, and it's in 5% of decks that can run it, but every single Sliver deck is going to want this card. Every single one. This card's amazing in Sliver decks. And so the main reason why I think the numbers are low is just clearly because of the price. Like this, people like Slivers. Slivers is a pretty popular archetype, and this is probably one of the best Slivers for it. So it's great to see this thing have a reprint for all you Sliver lovers. Next up, we got number 4. This is probably my favorite out of all the reprints, and that's Gauntlet of Power. So its last reprint was Time Spiral. Its only reprint, or only printing. One printing card. This is its second printing. Pre-reprint price was $23, and it's in 5,106 decks for 1% of decks it can go in. Those numbers are painfully low. Any monocolored deck should play this. Like, this card is fantastic for monocolored decks. It's just very, very powerful, like, super good effects. I run it inside my Have the Eternal deck, and it puts in work. Love this card, and happy to see his reprint, because now I can get more copies inside of my monocolored decks. This card's great. So, this is one of my favorite reprints that they did. I'm happy with this one. And yeah, it's a good one. Next up, we got number 3. So we're in the top 3 now. Number 3, we got Pact of Negation from the list, and previous to that was Modern Masters, or Masters 25. Masters 25. And its pre-reprint price was at $38. It's in 25,069 EDH Rec decks. Nice. And 10% of all blue decks. That's a lot. The next 3 cards are all very heavy play, and that's a lot of play. Like, it's great inside more casual. It's a staple in CEDH. It's a great card. It's just all around very, very powerful. And yeah, like, it's understandable at number 3. Like, I see why. None of the other packs made the list, obviously, because none of the other packs are that good. On the, like, options, there was, like, the green pact was there, and that ended up in, like, the high teens. So it was right outside, but yeah. Pact of Negation. Great reprint. Number 2, we have Erborg, Tomb of Yogmoth. Its last reprinting was Ultimate Masters, which wasn't too long ago. Its pre-reprint price was $35, so it got up in price pretty quick. I'm pretty sure it hit like $10 to $15 after UMA. And this card is probably the heaviest played card out of all the cards talked about in this video. It's in 53,225 EDH Rec decks for 11% of all decks. Because any deck can run Erborg, Tomb of Yogmoth, because technically it's a colorless. It's a land that's basically colorless in terms of commander identity, because it does not have a black mana symbol on it. So you can run this card in any deck, and it's in 11% of every deck. Very, very popular card. This card being reprinted made Cabal Coffers go up in price. Like, this is a very great commander reprint, because this is just such a high demand card, and it just always creeps up in price. So, good reprint here. Very good reprint here. Also, for people wondering why you would run this inside of a deck that's not just black, the main reason I do is I combo with stuff like, I run it in my Elish Norn commander deck, because you can use Cormus Bell and Erborg to turn all your lands into swamp, all lands into swamps, all swamps into 1/1 creatures, and then Elish Norn makes it so all your opponent's lands die to state-based actions. It's fun. And lastly, we've got number 1. I bet you can guess it, because it is Damnation. Very good reprint here. Its last printing was Secret Lair, so I'm a little surprised by the fact that it got literally number 1 on the list, because it just had a reprint like not long ago with really, really pretty art. And it was still $40 pre-reprint price. That was how much the Secret Lair version is going for, and that just like sold recently. So like I just got mine the other day. That's good reprint though. Anyways, 23,719 EDH rec decks for 10% of all black decks. So obviously very big play profile. It's a great card. Happy to see it's reprinted. It should go into, and especially decks without white. If you have a black deck that does not have white in it, you should definitely be playing this card because it's the best board wipe that black has. That and like Toxic Deluge. But this is definitely better for the more casual side. Toxic Deluge is better for the more competitive side. And yeah, that is what I've got for this top 10 list. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember, hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment down below, join us in the Discord, it's linked down below, and yeah, Patreon's down below. If you want to buy any of the cards talked about in this video, buy them through the TCG Player affiliate link down below, helps out the channel, and we will see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.